Us now is Ben Reitzes, Managing Director and Head of Technology Research at Melius Research. It's good to have you. So, Ben, what's your thesis as we enter the new year about how these stocks will behave differently or the same as last year?
Well, we're pretty bullish. We're very bullish. What you're seeing near term is that some of the memory stocks and semi-cap equipment are really seeing a squeeze, a rush to buy. And I do think that our large cap companies like Nvidia and Broadcom will still do very well. Those remain top picks. And then some of the more volatile names like an Intel and Marvell could play some catch up. Intel had a good year last year. I think that continues. But in general, we're very bullish. You had a prior guest on about where we are in the cycle. I still think we're early. Everybody wants to compare it to the internet. This thing's going to chart its own path, but it should be bigger than a lot of the naysayers think, in our opinion.
You think Intel's part of the story here? I mean, and yes, you mentioned last year, certainly good vibes. The administration, they raised a lot of capital. They had a lot of very high profile and powerful supporters. But what about the fundamental business?
Yeah, I mean, there's names like Nvidia that might be a little bit safer because Nvidia's gotten all the supply they need to crush numbers, in our opinion, versus other names, where Intel's a little bit more of a speculative name where it's not trading as much on earnings. What I think is going on there is Nvidia is a great shareholder. They're going to help them. The Trump administration is going to help them. And I think that that's really going to be, as we go throughout 26, we'll hear more good news about their future foundry prospects. They have great packaging assets that are underappreciated. And then I think that they have a process in 28 and 29 called 14A. It's a node in their foundry. And I think that you'll find more folks like Nvidia and Apple are taking a harder look at that. And that helps the book value creep up for a name like that.
Coming out of CES, Ben, I want to get your take on Nvidia. You know, I talk a lot, I know you do as well, as cost per token per dollar per watt, to quote Satya Nadella, certainly when I've heard him talk about it. This new Vera Rubin chip, what is it going to mean in terms of the competition between the likes of OpenAI, where that cost is higher than for Google, for example, with its TPUs?
Yeah, great question. We wrote a little bit about it today. We put out our chart of the week. And we talk about tokens per watt, and NVIDIA is really, this Vera Rubin chip is going to be 1/10 the cost of Blackwell. And you're going to start to see a lot of next-gen models actually come out that are trained on Blackwell this first half of the year that are going to really be competitive with Gemini, if not pass it. And then when Vera Rubin comes out, you're going to hear a lot more about how that makes some of their customers other than Google very much more competitive, like OpenAI. And I think token economics is everything. While NVIDIA has the highest upfront price, the tokens per dollar per watt, which you said, is going to take a big leap forward again with the Vera Rubin chip. And that's really the key, with power being the constraint. You have to get as many tokens for inference out that you can per square foot. And that is the key right now. And NVIDIA is going to have it.
Does this reinforce the notion then, Ben, that we may not need as much power as we think? Or does it only mean that we're just going to have even more in terms of you're going to need all the power you can get, you're just going to get more compute out of it?
That's the latter, David. Power is still going to be something we're going to be talking about. Data center delays, workers, the combination of data center delays, workers, and power, and the grid is not going to stop. I think the big thing, David, is just that inference is much bigger than expected. We're going to have these AI agents this year doing stuff in the background, and they're going to ping a lot of compute. So there's going to be a lot of things going on in the background due to autonomous AI agents that you don't see. But while you're sleeping, a lot of work's going to get done, and that's going to eat a lot of compute, David. And NVIDIA should win, and as well as many others. Right now, the memory guys are surging, maybe taking a break today. You know, we'll see. I'm pretty bullish, David. I think we're still early.